I'll start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kathy, would you start us in prayer?
Of course. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessings of this day. We thank you for the blessings that you have poured out on us and this county. We ask for your divine guidance. Please lead us to make the decisions that would be pleasing in your eye and would benefit this county. We ask that you watch over this world today with the situation in the Ukraine and what may come from that. So Lord, we just ask for your mercy and your grace to get us through this. We ask all of this in the heavenly precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to our February 24th. Where has February gone?
Bye-bye.
February 24th, bye-bye, Commissioners meeting. I'd like to get the meeting started off by approving the minutes of February 17th.
Sir, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of February 17th.
I will second.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter request for appropriation of funds,
Any comments or questions? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter request for appropriation transfer of funds,
Any comments or questions? Hearing none.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of communication from Portsmouth Municipal Court regarding electronic monitoring house arrest invoice.
This is for December and January. The December invoice was covering 891 days at $14.50 a day. No program costs paid by defendants, leaving the county with a $12,919.50. And then in January of 22, there were 54 defendants in the program for a total of 907 days at the same $14.50 a day. No program costs paid by the defendants, leaving the county with a balance of $13,151.50. Any comments or questions? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of equitable sharing agreement and certification between the Scioto County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Department of Justice regarding year 2021.
This was the equitable sharing agreement and certification for 2021 for the Sheriff's Office to be submitted to the U.S. Department of Justice, drug forfeiture funds. The beginning balance was $267,173. The ending balance, $170,555. Any comments or questions? Hearing none,
Motion to approve.
we've got a motion.
And I'll second.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of notification from the Ohio Department of Taxation regarding permissive sales tax.
This is our sales tax from December of 21, $831,699.48. That's an increase of $94,316.50 over the same time period of December 2020. Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, I think it's a very positive development that in a period of 2 months, our permissive sales tax has already been up. Correct me if I'm wrong, but looking at these numbers, somewhere probably north of $350,000 year to date. That is a great achievement considering we are talking about November and December of last year. Of course, those are Christmas months, and that's good to show the strength of the economy and our local economy. But all in all, that's a very good sign, and it gives us a great push into the new year.
All right, any other comments or questions? Hearing none?
Motion to accept.
I'll second that.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of fiscal year 2021 Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program Grant Agreement Amendment between the Scioto County Board of Commissioners and Ohio Department of Development. This is for BC 21-1CP1 and BC 21-1CP2, which is home repair and home rehab.
And this is essentially just changing the deadlines to release the funds from December 1st of 21 to March 1st of 22. That was for the ERR funds. And then the milestones, the ER must be submitted by March 1st of 22. And it's changed from August 31st of 2023 to November 30th of 2023. Any comments or questions? Hearing none?
Well, I'm sorry. I would like to thank Amanda Howard and Jen Kish in our office for all the work they do on CHIP. That's a pat on the back, Jen.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. We
And,
appreciate it.
You know, we have a lot of people in our community that take advantage of this program. Through this program, we've been able to do a lot of remodels, a lot of renovations, repair work on houses throughout our community. Over the years, we've been very successful in gaining quite a bit of money. We're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars. Since I've been in office over 7 years, we've seen literally multiple millions of dollars being spent on repair work for owner-occupied housing. This isn't for housing that's rented out. You have to literally live in the house. You have to own the house. And this has helped a lot of people on fixed incomes literally repair their homes and be able to do some great things. And I think it's a program that we should be very proud of, and very proud of the work that's done by our staff in getting this done. We have seen a steady stream of individuals here in the last several weeks that have come in and out of our office and have been interviewed and gone through the application process, and it is a pretty lengthy process. We don't pick those projects. Those projects are picked by a third party for good reason, of course. And because of that, this year, we had a $750,000 grant just for this year, and then of course the past ones have been equal to or greater than that. So it's been a really great program for our community, and that really helps increase our housing stocks, or at least secure our housing stocks, which is a major issue for us. So thank you so much, Jim, and Amanda, if you can hear me, thank you so much for all that you do. And
what I did.
we were very glad. And with that, I would like to make a motion to approve this amendment.
I will second.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In a matter of contract agreement between the Scioto County Commissioners, the Scioto County Sanitary Engineer, and the Southern Ohio Trenching and Excavating Incorporated regarding the Sewer Industrial Park Sanitary Sewer Extension.
This is a contract awarded between the Commissioners, Sanitary Engineer, and Southern Ohio Trenching and Excavating for the Soar Industrial Park Sanitary Sewer Extension in the amount of $80,000. This was bid out and reviewed. Did we do bids last week or week prior? It all blends together. Week prior. So this is the awarding of that bid process. Work will commence immediately and will be completed on or before May 20th of 2022. This just continues the economic development and infrastructure expansion out there at SOAR to make that property, to continue to make that property more viable and interesting to potential economic development. So thank you, Robert. I know Robert works very hard. Robert Horton, our Economic Development Director, works very hard on this project. And the dominoes keep falling in a positive direction. So thank you for your effort on that.
Yep.
Any additional comments or questions? Hearing none?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of 2021 County Highway System mileage certification regarding the Scioto County Engineer.
This is the 2021 mileage certification for the roads that we have within the county. We have 415.15 miles of county roads that falls under the responsibility of the Scioto County Engineer. We thank Engineer LeBron for all the work he and his team does. I know we've said it before, but we had the opportunity to be out there on site at the garage and the operation they have out there and what they're able to achieve is very impressive. And he does a heck of a job with the county roads. I want to point out the county roads, that's what he's responsible for, but so 415 all 415 miles of those throughout the winter season. The team did a really good job keeping the roads clean. Hopefully this is the last of it. We don't see any more coming snow-wise, but thank you, Engineer LeBron, for maintaining. That's a lot. I forget what he said. At one point, it's the equivalent of driving from here to Raleigh, North Carolina. So you can either go to Raleigh or you can just drive all the county roads. Just be in the car the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Any additional comments?
I think they do a great job. This certification, of course, helps with determining funding, which is critical. And it is a long drive. You think about it, I mean, that's a lot of mileage. Anyone that's ever went down that way toward the beach. But, you know, they have a great team out there. And, you know, at any given time when we have a snow event, you'll have 18 plows out there. It takes them 8 to 10 hours, 18 plows to do that one pass, which, you know, it takes 2 passes per road. So it's a lot of work. They do a tremendous job. But also all the other work that they do. And we have over 600 miles of road in Sauter County. So, you know, also with the work that he does with the township trustees to help them, he stretches his budget very well and utilizes the dollars very wisely. So, but he is, you know, as you mentioned, he is responsible for the county roads. Well, I always like to remind people at this time, township takes care of township, city takes care of city, county takes care of county, state takes care of states. So it's, you know, it's very important for everybody to understand who does that. The county commissioners are not responsible for the roads. That's not something we do. It is other duly elected officials that do that. And we like to get blamed for everything, or we don't like to get blamed for everything, but we tend to get blamed for everything on the roads. But we also work with Engineer LeBron on some funding to help him do some matching grants. We do that and help him identify it. Work with him on several projects regarding economic development, which is very important. So it's a good team, work together. And with that, if there's no other comments,
Anything else?
No, sir.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Ms. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
In the matter of request for fund transfers,
Any comments or questions on item 10? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
In the matter of resolution authorizing the chairman of the Board of Sauter County Commissioners to file and execute an application with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources regarding paddling enhancement grant.
So this is the paddle enhancement grant offered by ODNR. It's paid for up to $75,000 for paddle enhancement. The goal is to use this at the Lucasville River Launch. They're at 348-104. We are in the process, negotiation, due diligence of acquiring land there to build out that infrastructure, to open up, quite honestly, the Sauter River for the first time to public access. I know there's already businesses in the area that are asking when this might happen because they're wanting to create recreational opportunities for our citizens and for visitors. This is just another step in that direction and gives me the opportunity to file for this grant. Any comments or questions?
I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it goes hand in hand, of course, with item 22 today, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Yeah.
But you know, this particular type of recreation is becoming very popular in different parts of the state and the nation. It's a very positive move. It will bring economic and community development to our area. And this is just another part of the overall vision and plan of this Board of County Commissioners, as well as that of other entities in our community, such as the city. So it's a very positive thing, and it will be well received, I believe, once we unfold everything. So with that, I don't know, Kathy, if you have anything?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so we make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Ms. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
In the matter of approving payment of the regular schedule of accounts for the various funds, moral obligations, and the then announced certificates in the total amount of $161,935.99.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of contract agreement between the Sauter County Board of Commissioners and Fishel, Downey, Albrecht, and Rippenhoff regarding human resource attorney.
This is a contract for human resource services. Essentially, what this group would do is anytime we have human resource questions, be it workers' comp or FMLA or any of the more complex HR issues, we could reach out to this attorney group. It is at the hourly rate of $190 per hour for the time expended by the attorneys on behalf of the county. This isn't something that happens that often, but when it does, it does require the expertise of HR attorneys, and quite honestly, it helps free up the prosecutor's office to focus on the things that they, whether it be the ARPA resolutions, whether it be the Special Victims Unit, and of course, all the cases that are being planned for, and so this just frees them up to do that job, and it's one piece of law that they don't have to be as fluent in. So it's an opportunity for us to reach out directly to this law firm to help with any HR issues. It doesn't happen that often, hasn't happened often since I've been here, but when it does, these are always complex issues. Any comments or questions? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of resolution accepting grant and dedication of right-of-way for public road purposes to be known as Barclow Extension Road, County Road 540, Harrison Township, Sauter County, Ohio.
Any comments or questions on this resolution for the Barclay Road extension? Hearing none.
Motion to adopt.
I will second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of accepting an amended certificate from the Budget Commission.
Any comments or questions on item 15? Hearing none.
I'd make a motion to accept.
Second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of accepting miscellaneous reports.
Any comments or questions on miscellaneous reports? Hearing none.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of memorandum of understanding between the Sauter County Commissioners, Sauter County Engineer, and Madison Township Board of Trustees.
We did a couple of these last week. This is the joint agreement between our engineer, Darren LeBrun, and Madison Township, where they're just shared services, essentially. We appreciate that relationship. It saves each entity time and money. Any comments or questions? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of resolution self-certifying a $50,000 micro-purchase threshold for the use of American Rescue Plan funds in accordance with 2 CFR 200.320A, triple I, and 4.
This is a resolution that the prosecutor's office asked as we're going through these ARPA funds. It assists with essentially the paperwork on the back end of how we process ARPA funds, certifying $50,000 micro purchases. Of course, anything over 50 still requires the bidding process, but this is just setting the limit. Any comments or questions? Hearing none.
Motion to adopt.
I will second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of resolution establishing a simplified acquisition threshold of $250,000 for the use of American Rescue Plan funds in accordance with 2 CFR 200.320A2, 1, and 2.
This is similar to item number 18. Are there any additional comments or questions regarding this item? Hearing none.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of participant supplement between Sauter County Board of Commissioners, Sauter County Veterans Service, and U.S. Bank regarding the fleet program.
This is a supplement agreement between the Commissioners and the Veterans Services and U.S. Bank to add Teresa Denowitz as a participant of the program. This essentially allows her to act on the Veterans Services bank account, essentially. It gives her permission to be able to do that. Any comments or questions? Hearing none?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of letter of support for Market Street Park regarding fiscal year 23-24 capital budget funding.
This is a request from the Market Square Park organization. They're looking for capital money to build out the park, essentially where anytime you go to Winterfest, that is that area, that space. So this is a letter supporting their request for capital budget funding through the legislator. Of course, that space gets used a lot. It's a great resource. It's a good team and a good vision of what they're trying to pull off there. And I hope they're successful in this request. Should we provide this letter of support? This is something, once again, we talk about generational change. This is something that'll be used and enjoyed for many generations to come, I believe. Any comments or questions?
Motion to approve.
Okay, thank you. Can we get a second?
Second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of letter of support for the city of Portsmouth regarding the ODNR titling grant.
As Commissioner Davis stated, this item is directly connected to authorizing myself to go for the paddle grant. The city is going for the paddle grant as well. They are looking at a location off of Alexandria Point. This essentially completes the paddle trail from Lucasville to Portsmouth, essentially making a place for the public to enter and exit and enjoy a day on the water, roughly, I think it's 14 miles, 15 miles. So this completes that process, and it gives people the opportunity to truly, for the first time, enjoy that waterway in a way that we haven't seen in this county. So it's very exciting. It's a great project where the city and the county are involved in building out this infrastructure, and wish them the best. Hopefully they get this grant as well. We know ODNR is interested in completing the Sauter River Trail as well. Basically, it stops in Piketon, and then it's right now Sauter County's the donut hole. So I know ODNR is interested, and I think they'll be very supportive of both of these projects. Any comments or questions?
I'm really glad that they're moving forward with this, and we should commend City Manager Sutherland and Community Development Director Tracy Shear on their efforts on this. I think that by working together, we can really make something awesome happen here. You know, what we need to remember is this is something that people are already doing, but not necessarily safely. The access points in Lucasville and in Portsmouth don't exist, really, officially. And because of that, there's some unsafe practices that happen. Now, don't get me wrong, you talk to adventurers, you know, enthusiasts, they don't seem to really care too much, other than we would like to have it to be more accessible, to be able to have others be able to use it more than just those that can climb over rocks and down steep. Yeah, you're raising your hand, you're one of them. Down steep embankments, if we can make it nice and even more accessible for more people, including our friends in the ADA community, I think that it's a really positive thing, and that's what we want to do here. And people are already taking these trips, and people are really enjoying it. And if we open it up to even more people, that means more people will come into our community. They'll spend money. They'll go to our restaurants. They'll stay overnight in our hotels. They'll stay at Shawnee Lodge. They'll make it a weekend. They'll make it a week. So it's a positive thing, and I'm really glad that there's like-minded people working together to make these kind of things happen. This is part of the secret sauce to really create economic and community development, and everybody's rowing in the same direction.
Hey,
I've been waiting the whole entire meeting to use that. All right, and it's a positive development. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that out.
we
Preach it to the choir.
No, we appreciate it, and it's very exciting, and it is that missing link to our recreational
Yes, sir.
offerings, so thank you for that. If there's any other comments or questions? Hearing none? Can I get a motion? Who's
I-
going? Somebody?
Motion
I'll
to,
say. I'll say.
I'm sorry, I'm moving forward already.
That's all right.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of easement between the County of Scioto, State of Ohio, by and through the Board of Commissioners of Scioto County, Ohio, and Scioto Water, Inc. regarding Fairground Road.
Any comments or questions on item 23? Hearing none?
Motion approved.
I'll second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of communication to Scioto County Children's Services Board from the Scioto County Board of Commissioners regarding board restructure.
This is a letter that would be sent to the Scioto County Children's Services Board. I think a lot of this was covered yesterday in the Children's Services Board meeting. Essentially, what this letter would do is restructure the board, not eliminate, not dissolve, restructure the board, shifting the financial and operational responsibility directly under the commissioners and living under JFS. You know, when you start looking at the structure of children's services across the state, this work belongs under JFS. I've said a lot about it yesterday. I'm interested to see what my counterparts here have to say. So with that, is there any questions or comments?
Well,
Ladies first.
ladies first. Thank you. There's so many people that are so passionate about children's services, and so they should, because when it's all said and done, it's about our children. Children who have no voice, that they put in situations that they have no control over, and the bottom line is the welfare of our children. But with that being said, I come from a world, 42 years in a business and atmosphere, and one thing my husband told me, who was the previous commissioner, was to run the county like a business. And so that's what we must do. And unfortunately, through no fault of their own, I think we all agree that the situation that is going on with children's services, it is due to the opiate crisis. It's had an effect on everything, from law enforcement, fire departments, the hospital. Everyone is affected by it, and we cannot forget that Children's Services has taken quite a blow due to the increase in our children. When I came in here, it was under 200. It was over 400. I think it's gone down a little bit, but I fear that it'll go even higher than what we're seeing now, because there has to be a fix. I don't know what it is. I've had many sleepless nights wondering how we can fix the opiate situation. Just anything to make a difference there. I just don't know how it'll be done. So, with that being said, we're probably going to see more children that need foster care. Those numbers will probably increase. The expense of the boarding of the children is astronomical. So I'm going to wrap this up. My thoughts on this is, I'm looking at this as a business. I'm making decisions about the financial stability of the agency, and it's plain and simple to me. It's a matter of numbers. It's math. At the end of 2021, the agency was, the money, their carryover was gone. They were looking at $580,000 they needed to be whole. And then we did some research on our own, and by February, the number was $730,000 they needed to be whole just through February. And so, and I understand, I'm going to mention the board because I watched the meetings, I watched it last night. The board is taking this very hard because they're so passionate about it, and their love and for the children and the welfare of the children is first and foremost on their mind. Why would they be on the board? Why would they accept that appointment if that was not their goal to take care of these children? But I just want them all to know that we appreciate everything they've done, but there's nothing that they could do about the financial situation. It's going to grow and grow. So with that being said, I just pray that they look at this as, helping them with their burden and not working against them. I feel from watching the meeting last night, there are several that are taking it so personally, it bothers me. So please, there's nothing you could have done with the situations we have with the opiate crisis. And so it comes right down to basic finances. After, we've had these discussions with them about, tell us, we didn't want to do this, but we have to. That's just the bottom line. So, we ask, what is your plan? What is your plan? Well, they submitted one, but it's not really a business plan. It doesn't tell us the details of how they can put their recommendations to work. And in spite of everything, the commissioners had to cover their payroll. And if it wasn't for Commissioner Powell, I don't know when we would have been told they needed money to cover payroll. He asked them, how bad is it? What do you need? And I just want to point out that in my world, if you didn't pay your people, you wouldn't have any people for the next week. So, bottom line is, it's fine. It's a business situation. The Children's Services, at the behest of the Chairman Barnett, I looked it all over again. I asked them, what their potential receivables was going to be, but I received what we already had, was a spreadsheet of their receivables for 2021. And they collected $6.6 million in receivables and were still in the red with no carryover. And they couldn't do payroll. So all this conversation that was had during the meeting last night, I don't understand it. Bottom line is, they can't cover their finances. We are mandated to take care of them. We are responsible for children's services. So, with that being said, we're doing our job. And that's all I'm going to say. Probably enough.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Commissioner Davis.
I spent some time yesterday evening and early this morning. Was up early thinking about this entire process. I've probably been pretty quiet, I think, compared to some. think one of the reasons is just out of sheer sadness of where we've come to in our county, having been on this board for over 7 years, and seeing the process of decay in our society and with the opioid epidemic and the tentacles that has created. And we're here today talking about one of those situations that has risen as a result of that. So what I did was I actually sat down and I actually wrote out what brought us to this place, so that the public has a really good understanding as to maybe some of the things that fed into decision making for me personally, and perhaps the others, because I can't speak for my colleagues here, but when you sit in this seat, you see a lot of things and you experience a lot of things, and we've done that over the years. We've dealt with some tough things over the years. It's just part of this seat. It's something, when you run for this office, you better have broad shoulders and you better have thick skin. That's the bottom line. And so what I did was I wrote down some things, and I just wanted to read this to you because I think the public needs to know what has happened, what we're doing, where we're going, because I think the main thing everybody wants to know, what are you going to do to fix it? It just boils down to that. The average individual out there, they have a life to live, they have their own problems, but at the end of the day, we all have the same concern that we want our children taken care of. Especially those that are the most vulnerable and those that are finding themselves in these situations that we're talking about today. But the transition of Scioto County CPS from board structure to being under a Scioto County Job and Family Services has been a possibility for over a year. It really has. In September of 2020, the commissioners, the late Mike Crabtree, myself, Kathy Coleman, worked with the director of JFS, the director of CPS, and the CPS board to sign a mutual cooperation agreement to facilitate better communication between the two entities. This was to identify synergies between the two organizations. And anytime you hear the word synergy, you automatically, it usually means save money. It's usually what it means, is to save money. The two organizations, and help the director of JFS to become more aware of the CPS structure. It should be known that both Scioto County Job and Family Services and Scioto County Children Protective Services work directly with and gain oversight from the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services in Columbus. They both do that. Roughly about the same time, the commissioners funded an additional CPS attorney, which would, unlike the existing attorney who answers to the CPS board, answer to the prosecutor, Shane Tiemann. This was to facilitate a transition to the prosecutor's office as legal representation instead of a CPS board attorney in fiscal year 2022. The other goal of that was to try to push through as many cases as possible to get to permanency to reduce cost. That was the other reason for doing that. It should also be noted that during this time, the commissioners invested in a new special victims unit through the prosecutor's office, something that had never been tried before in Scioto County, to investigate crimes against the most vulnerable in our community, and that includes children. A unit which has proven to be very valuable. Now the question is, why did we do all this? Well, when you run a business, you plan ahead. That's all there is to it. Because we saw the potential that without additional funding, that this day where we are right now may come, and we needed to do all that we could to prepare for it. We didn't want it to come to this. We were hoping that additional funding would come from the state. We were hoping that there was a silver lining somewhere. We were hoping that there was a potential to not to have to get to this place. But here we are. CPS has been historically 100% fully funded by state and federal dollars and a local levy, a 1 mil levy. That levy amount has not increased as far as the millage for many, many years. That's something to take into consideration here. They started to dip into their carryover reserves in June of 2020. When we did our research, we started looking into our own auditor's office. We started looking at the financials. The financials were right in line with CPS's own financials. And in that way, we did our own little audit to see what are we missing here. And there wasn't anything being missed. We saw a $1.4 million swing in boarding. We saw a $400,000 swing in labor, which that in and of itself, you say, well, why did it go up $400,000? They were bleeding caseworkers. They couldn't keep talent. They couldn't keep people working, and they needed additional people to handle the increase in children. We literally doubled in nearly 2 years. It was an insurmountable amount of money. And I guess the question is this: would the public rather we not remove these children from these dangerous situations? Would they rather our juvenile court judge just turn a blind eye and CPS turn a blind eye? By the way, there are CPSs that do that. There are. They keep their numbers very generically low while there's children languishing and literally being tortured and hurt physically and mentally in homes. But our CPS and our juvenile court is very aggressive in removing these children. They began dipping into that carryover in June of 2020, and it was very telling that those numbers were climbing at that time. So you saw the increase. It was happening. The revenue simply wasn't keeping up with expenses. And what followed was a gradual decline in cash reserves. A local and statewide issue with increased boarding costs, staffing shortages, and increased mental and physical trauma to children, families, and CPS, and law enforcement, and court staffs as a result of the opioid epidemic have brought us to where we are today. We work in a state-based system where reunification with family is done at all costs. Many times family that is not able to adequately care for their children. And it is only added to the trauma, in my humble opinion. We can debate reunification until the cows come home. The bottom line is it's not been good, and because of forced reunification, we've had infant fatalities in this system. The state laws need to change, and they need to change now in order to prevent the deaths of more children. And we advocate for this regularly. This board, Children's Services Board, others in our community, law enforcement, we all advocate for this regularly. And in the middle of all this sits a Children's Services Board of volunteers. I hope everybody heard that. They're volunteers. A board comprised of community members. They're not paid. Giving of their time, spending time away from family. Members who, like you and me, just want to do the right thing. They show up all the time. They want to do the right thing. But because of state-imposed regulations, lack of funding, an opioid epidemic that is ever evolving, 10 years ago it was Oxycontin. Now we're dealing with fentanyl and carfentanil, and they're lacing everything with this stuff, and it's gotten worse. And an overwhelming number of kids in protective custody, they can't adequately do their duties. They can't do it. It's not possible. And my decision today is partly influenced by the fact that I do not wish to expose any of these very professional board members, and I count every one of them as that, several of them being my friends, to any more personal heartache. I just can't do it. It simply isn't worth it, and it simply isn't fair to them. My recommendations, just as it is the 77 out of 88 counties and what they've done, I recommend the Scioto County CPS be put under the administration of Scioto County JFS, and that Jason Mantell, the Director of CPS, be placed under the supervision of JFS Director Tammy Moore Morton. She's a proven competent leader with many years of HR and management experience. This move will increase financial efficiencies, organizational efficiencies, communication, and identify additional synergies that will save the organization money. I recommend the restructuring of the CPS board to an advisory board who will report to the commissioners directly. I think the link between the community and the commissioner board is vital to identify issues that may go unnoticed otherwise, and who in turn will report those to the JFS and CPS director. Other projects in support of CPS will be needed, and I hope that each one will consider being part of this worthwhile effort. We have a large amount of cases over the 2-year mark of home displacement. We've discussed this, and I recommend the immediate review of all CPS cases beyond the 12 and 24-month mark in an effort to permanency sooner in order to immediately reduce costs to the agency. If we get these children placed in a loving home, a safe environment, and it's permanent, the costs go away to the agency. It's such a huge win if we can do that. These discussions have already taken place in juvenile court and the prosecutor's office. We've done that. We've already laid the groundwork for that. Technology will be introduced to better track cases, and the goal is to reduce the number of children languishing in the system. I recommend we immediately act on moving our roughly 24 current CPS administered foster families, this is my recommendation, to a private licensed provider. CPS already contracts with many agencies for this exact purpose. This isn't a new thing. While it is true that it is cheaper to do it internally, I do not believe that the children are being served as well as they could be. Only about 50 children are currently under direct CPS care through foster care. While cost will go up initially, and it will, it is our belief that with increased communication with juvenile court, there will be improved outcomes, there will be moves to permanency, or an acceptable outcome faster, and overall improved staff utilization. This will reduce costs in the long run. One such licensed provider told us that they do additional home visits, a minimum of 2 per month, more if needed due to difficult circumstances. I think we can all visualize what difficult circumstances could be. They provide wraparound services for families such as mental health, which is critical. It is critical. Folks, I've lived this. I know what that is. You know, we had boys in our home. We eventually adopted them, but the mental health services are crucial. We ended up paying for that in our situation to get them the help they needed because of the trauma that they endured. And here we are 7 years later, and they still endure it. That's how real this is, folks. In my estimation, they can and will support the families better. In other words, they have eyes on the children more, and we need that. Instead of the state-required 1 visit per month, which is what CPS is held to, the additional cost to help our children is worth it, in my estimation. If we have to pay more to help our children, we have to do it. We also need to review the Title 48 designations. As I still believe we have a high number not qualifying for reimbursement, we've got to fight this fight. This could increase revenue in the future by $500,000 if we're just able to fix that one problem. There's a lot of debate on whether we can or cannot, but I can tell you this, we can from here on out, and we need to do it. Calling the courts to hold parents who do not comply with CPS requests for information to be held in contempt of court. Enough's enough. As we have often said, this is Child Protective Services, not Adult Protective Services. And there are many other areas that will need investigated for opportunities for improvement and procedures and policies reviewed to facilitate change. No stone will go unturned and reduce the cost under this new system. And I want to close with this. Let us not lose track of the fact that none of this would be necessary if it wasn't for the opioid crisis in our community. While we do have other addictions, and we do, sure we do. Used to be Alcoholism was the primary factor. And it's still there. It really is. It's still there. But we have mental health challenges feeding this problem. Our numbers at CPS continue to go up, and many times it is directly or indirectly connected to opioids. And these are based on comments from our local law enforcement. You know, people say, well, quantify and qualify your statement. We hear that a lot. People want to defend it. People want to say that don't exist. That's not true. Well, talk to the frontline workers. They'll tell you otherwise. And that's who we talk to. These are based on comments from local law enforcement, our court employees, probation, CPS, and all of our frontline workers. We're talking about hospital people. We're talking about the nurses and up at SOMC and KDMC that take care of I believe last year it was 70 drug-addicted babies that were born with opioids in their system. Talk to them. Talk to the ones who volunteer their time to rock those babies as they cry their eyes out because they're addicted and they're shaking uncontrollably. Talk to them about this, and they'll tell you what the problem is. Drug-addicted parents are the major cause for our children suffering in this community. This war we fight should not and cannot be against each other. It can't be. It must be fought to eradicate this opioid curse. And folks, it's a curse in our community. It is. I mean, I deal with this on so many levels and so many fronts. We've lost precious lives in this fight. We've lost children and we've lost adults. And many of us personally. And while we know the answers and remedies lie at all levels, not just in our community, we've got to continue to fight to save as many as we can. So if you want to direct your anger at somebody or something, direct it at the real source of the pain. You know, it's easy to be armchair quarterback and take pop shots at each other. That doesn't solve anything. You want to direct your anger? Direct it at the real source. It's the opioids, the fentanyl, the meth, and those who provide them. Those who provide those to our community. Be angry about that. Be angry about broken lives. Be angry about broken families that will never recover from their loss. Be angry, and then support the ones on the front lines trying to help. It's hard work, and they deserve our respect. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for those words, Commissioner Davis. The only thing, I spoke on this item quite a bit last week, quite a bit yesterday, and the only thing I'll add is that what I hate the most is what this is doing to the members of the board. I know they're taking it personal. I know yesterday they were hurt feelings. That's not the intent of any of this. I know they're passionate, and we are too. We have to fix this. And there's still an opportunity to be engaged and be involved through an advisory board. That opportunity's there, and we welcome it. We're going to need it. We need all hands on deck to support our most vulnerable population. But with a heavy heart, this is a direction we have to move for the future of the agency, for the solvency of the agency, for the operations of the agency, and ultimately the service to the children in Scioto County. So with that, can I get a motion?
I will make the motion to approve.
I will second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of letter of intent to purchase real property located at 500 Chillicothe Street and 817 6th Street, Portsmouth, Ohio.
This is a letter of intent to purchase the Fifth Third building on Chillicothe Street. This is does not force us to buy the building. It allows us to do due diligence in looking at that property. I know I've been through it, and I believe both commissioners have been through it as well. This is an opportunity to spur economic development, to spur community development, and quite honestly, change the face of Portsmouth. When we're looking at economic development, a lot of times we focus on infrastructure. Sometimes it's back office services, but this gives us the opportunity to have in the catalog of offerings another asset to provide, to offer up to potential folks that might want to lease that property. So once again, it doesn't lock us in. The price of this letter of intent for that building is $418,000. I will mention that in the letter of intent, there were a couple restrictions that are of concern and that we are looking at. So if you choose to do this motion, I would have it contingent on being able to handle those contingencies and remove the contingencies as identified by the prosecutor's office. Any additional comments or questions on this item?
I would only say that as far as the ability for us to market and move our downtown forward, I think that's positive. That there's great potential, and if we're going to break into the digital economy and things like that, and do more in that realm, community development, we feel strongly that this is a solid move for the county to do so, and time will tell. Time will tell where it leads. I will say this, and as far as being able to afford it, this is right on the heels of doing a $2 million ask for our children's services, which of course is coming out of ARPA funds, which are federal funds. They're not your general fund. They're not coming out of the general fund for that, which will take us through 2022 for children's services. If this sale would go forward, the thing I want to remind everybody of is that we have prepared ourselves fiscally to do this. You have heard us in this meeting say multiple times that the county is strong, that we have strong bonding capabilities. Our credit rating is very strong. The county is a very good investment for bonding agencies. We have grown our carryover 8 years running. Strong carryovers, strong reserves. We have positioned ourselves to where we can, as a county, invest in economic development, in community development, and of course you've been seeing a lot of that going on here lately. Some with ARPA dollars, some not. But we are doing that, and it's all part of a broad strategy. It really is. And this is part of that, an opportunity that arose to move this community forward in a positive way. So with that, I'll leave it at that. If
Any additional comments?
No, sir.
No additional comments. Can I get a motion?
I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Ms. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Powell?
Aye. Is there any additional comments at this time, Commissioner Davis?
No, sir.
Commissioner Coleman?
No.
All right. Questions on the agenda? On the agenda?
There, in the street, there are no questions.
Okay, that's fine. Betty?
You're up.
Before I go into Sauter County Gateway News, I just want to say to the citizen, 11/21/22, I was like do cartwheels right there. Overhearing that, that's what exciting news. So I'm nostalgic about the area, and so good stuff. Now, going into, you asked me any questions earlier, the first one is like a 3-in-1 on the agenda.
Okay.
All right, so be prepared. I'll try not to spill over like last week.
Does she need a microphone?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I know. Not what usually carries.
Well, they can't hear you on the
Okay.
stream.
All right. So on the agenda, how does CPS track the length of time children are in care? I'll start with that, and then part of that 3-in-1.
Yeah, that's
Excuse me, I didn't hear the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. On the agenda, how does CPS track the length of time?
it's our understanding
children care.
that's still a very manual process. Part of our research into a restructure is updating the system and software in which CPS would be linked to the JFS system. That would provide more robust reporting, and quite honestly, the analytics to be able to tackle this item straight on.
I like the fact also in researching that technology that I know one of the things that's happened in the past, I don't know how often, but when children are moved from one county to the other or they show up. We had that not too long ago. Matter of fact, we had some children show up in Soda County that I think originated from Jackson County. I don't know all the details. Of course, Children's Services is very confidential, but that system has that capability of tracking that child. That child is in the system. Job and Family Services, the system. They can track that from county to county too. That's huge. That gives the local office more insight, and ultimately spills over into, do we need to get law enforcement involved? Do we need to, what happens? What is that exactly? So there's potentially synergies there. It's a great question and something that we're definitely very interested in.
And part two of that, which it sounds like you kind of answered it, but how do you feel about the current tracking system? So to me, it's not like an answer to that, but.
The quote can be lacking, I guess.
My word's fire drill. I think part of the problem we deal with is, and it's not the staff or anything like that. You're dealing with fires all the time, and because of that, you're dealing with the most pressing matter. That is not a good process. You never dig yourself out of that hole unless you develop policies and procedures to where you can get to a sustainable level, and that you're able to actually do opportunities for improvement and process, control and process mapping and things like that. You're always dealing with fires, and that is not the proper way to run an organization. You have to get past that. And a lot of times technology can get you there, especially when you are limited on funds and staffing. So that's part of it, yeah.
So I'll keep going forward here. How many kids are in care, are in temporary custody, and how many are in permanent custody?
I don't know that I know the number off the top of my head. 366 and temporary. In terms of, actually, that's total. We'd have to get that for you, Betty. That's a moving target. Yeah.
How many? Oh, I'm sorry.
You could possibly contact Jason.
Jason would tell you.
Oh, okay. How many have their boarding expenses reimbursed by the federal government under Title 40?
Last count, we have 107, I believe, that's not. So if you want to do the backwards into that math, 200 and let's call it 59.
Approximately.
Yeah. And Title 40 doesn't cover it 100% either. So be mindful of that.
Is it 56%? It's a little more than half. So it's not.
So it doesn't cover entirely anymore.
Right.
And then, so I'll just move on to another one on the agenda.
Sure.
All right, trying to roll along. On the agenda, according to statements made by Commissioner Powell, 77 counties have Children's Services joined with Job and Family Services, and only 11 counties have separate board of directors. According to the Job and Family Services website, the number is listed as 62 and 21, with 2 hybrid counties. How do you explain the discrepancy?
I don't explain the discrepancy. That's what we've been told is 77. I mean, if he's looking on a website. But still, clearly the majority has shifted, and there's a reason for that happening. I think there's only 2 in this region that are still board-driven. One's Adams County, one is Pike County. So even in our region, you're looking at 2 peer leads.
The trending is definitely heading in that direction. I know Gallia County just did this. I doubt if the website reflects that. Washington County did it recently in the last few years. The trending is definitely going in that way, and it's all about efficiencies. It's all about synergies. It's all about saving money. It's all about utilizing existing personnel in a more efficient manner. That is the trending we're seeing, and really the recommendation of Ohio Department of Job and Family Services overall. It is their recommendation. So, just talking with their team up there and things like that, this is definitely trending around the state.
Another one on the agenda is, in an election year, it's common to hold off on major sweeping decisions. Why have you begun the process or massive reform when you may or may not be here to oversee it?
Yeah, so we can't worry about politics, or at least I don't. I think that's pretty clear, because the political thing to do would be do nothing, especially when you look at the makeup of the board. All great board members, friends of ours, people we look up to. Heck, the chairman of the board is also the chairman of the Republican Party. So if you want to worry about politics, this is not the decision you would make. Fortunately, we don't look at the world through the lens of what's politically expedient. We look at the world through what is the right business process to move forward with. Whether I'm sitting here next year or not, it is still the right move to make for the children in this county.
Now I'm going to off the agenda.
Sure.
Okay. With 25 agenda items and providing adequate time for comments from the public and questions from the press, why are meetings scheduled in 30 minutes? I'm going to put this together. If you don't have time, even for 1 minute of each item.
Why is
Am
the
I-
meeting
you want me to
only
say that
scheduled
again?
for 90? I mean, we go over all the time. Betty, you've been here. I think the one meeting we went until 11:30. That's just how it's set up. Some meetings we will have literally 10 minutes worth of business. It's just, lately it's been hitting more so
Can
with
I
more
expound
items.
on that as well?
Oh, yeah, and I would
Yeah,
love
I'd like to
our
expound on
clerk who sets our schedule.
First of all, we never know how many items are going to be on the agenda. You know, it was only like 10 yesterday. So all these things, or not yesterday, before yesterday, but late afternoon, I might have 10 items come in. Nothing is sitting in my desk. There's not one item that is for the next meeting sitting on my desk unless it was asked to be held for the next meeting. That's why we put everything through at the last possible minute. I added one this morning, so that's why. I mean, we schedule meetings a week in advance. So, and the ones with Ryan, I told him that if we ran over, that it would be moved later. So that, I usually do those that we can kind of internal. I try not to do the external ones that soon. But, we just never know how many items. But we try to get everything through because we only have one meeting a week.
And I would even say that I would say this board is very transparent even after the meeting. I know we've had discussions. I know I've messaged with Mark as well. So if the public wants answers, we're here. If we can do it in this meeting, great. If we can't, we're still very much available. I know I am. I'm not going to speak for the other two, but I know that they've spoke to media outside of the meeting as well. So yeah, if you have questions, really anytime, reach out.
I want to mention something. I've served on school boards and different boards, and normally they set up a time limit for questions, and when your time's up, they cut you off. In the 5 years I've been here, we've never put a time limit on anyone who asks questions or needs things explained. And sometimes, the only time we've had to do it is when we're late for the next meeting. And, that's once or twice.
Yeah.
So, it's been the practice here for 5 years, so.
Okay. Any other questions?
I think that's it, yeah.
Betty, thank you for that. If there's,
Appreciate you guys' time.
Can I expound on the
Yeah.
political question?
please do.
Because I know you did, and I say ditto at everything you said. Again, it is real easy for people to sit back and take pop shots at us, and they do, and that's fine. I mean, especially you mentioned during a campaign or a political year. I've been down this road several times, and have had to make some very difficult decisions during election years. We don't look at the calendar, and we don't look at D's and R's. And this thing, I can tell you right now, these kids, they don't care about politics. I mean, we got kids that are didn't eat last night. And we've got kids that were probably beaten last night. And of all the kids that are in CPS, I guarantee you there's double that many that haven't been identified yet that need to be in protective custody. Okay? Maybe even more than that. So I don't let that guide my direction. I have never governed by caucus. I refuse to. I govern by conscience, and I heard someone use that comment the other day, and it's a solid comment. It's the general public. You got to remember, the majority of the people out there, they're not Democrats, they're not Republicans. They're what they call independents. They don't care either way, you know. And unfortunately, when you run for office in the two-party system that we deal with today, okay, you pick one, you know, the one that most closely aligns with your values or your beliefs, and you run. Then I can tell you this: you call me, I don't care what letters next to your name. I don't care what side of the tracks you came from. I don't care what color your skin is, and I don't care who your parents were or what problems you've had in your past. I don't care about those things. My job, our job, is we are elected to serve the people of this county. And in this case, the most vulnerable. So therefore, I've never thought of that being an issue in regards to what we're talking about today. It should never be. We live in a time where there's so much partisanship and so much vitriol between the two parties, and because of that, we get very little done as a nation, because all they want to do is fight about things. This should not be an item that we disagree on. Got to take care of our kids. And you can't. That's what amazes me, is we fight over everything under the sun, but yet we have so much in common.
Yeah.
We all bleed red. We're all Americans, and we're all going to suffer together, or we prosper together. So we don't let those things get in the way of us making sound decisions for this county. It's too important. And maybe that happened in the past. Maybe, you know, those things were, a blind eye was, you know, turned because things were unsavory, and my gosh, we got to worry about the next election, things like that. I can tell you it didn't happen at this table, because that isn't even part of the discussion at this table. It can't be. We're talking about our treasure here. We're talking about children who don't care about your politics. They could care less. So I just wanted to throw that out. It's never been about that. And I can honestly say that I've never allowed that to get in the way of me serving the people of Sauter County. Because it can't. Because I don't look at this person as a Republican or this person as a Democrat. I look at them as an American. And a Sauter County, and someone from our area, someone I grew up with, or someone that was my neighbor, somebody that deals with the same problems I deal with, you know? That's what I see. I don't see all that other stuff. And we can't. And I think that's important for everyone to remember, and especially the ones running for office, you know? Don't think yourself so high and mighty that you think you're better than everybody else, you know? I mean, we're all in this same boat together. That's all there is to it. And we've got to do what's right by the people. And in this case, I feel that we are. I think it's the right thing to do at this time. So I just wanted to say that, Betty. I hope it came across okay or right. I mean, I don't know, but just sharing my heart this morning.
Also in this case, I'm just going to throw my 2 cents out there.
All right.
Also
Me too.
in this case, for anyone who does take it political, shame on them. I'm serious. That's all I can say.
Thank you for that, Robert. If there's no other comments by the commissioners, can I get a motion we're adjourning today, correct?
Correct.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. If there was or is additional questions, we will review those at a later time and get back with you. Thank you so much.